Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? I'm Miles. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys have been doing well, staying safe, washing your hands, all the things that I guess we're just gonna do forever now. Today I am back with another gear review, and this time around, the lovely people at the company Flamma asked me to check out for them the FX100 multiprocessor. When it comes to multiprocessors, for me personally, I've always been the guy for many, many years that kind of strayed away from the idea of utilizing a multiprocessor in my repertoire of stuff. Whether it just been because I'm paranoid that something terrible is going to happen to my equipment at a show, because it has happened before, or because I just want to be able to fully access all the parameters of the effects that I have available to me to utilize in my sound. I've always felt more comfortable having a multitude of singular individual things that I can rearrange and augment to my personal liking. However, over the years, I've found that for me personally, my needs, depending on what kind of gigs I have lined up, what equipment that I bring is certainly something that I need to be mindful about. And I want it to be perfectly suited for that gig specifically. So if I've been commissioned to do a track for someone and they don't need me to bring a full amp, full pedal board and all that stuff, I can simply just bring one piece of gear that goes direct into the soundboard and I'm good to go. And at this point, after being inside and not playing shows for about 4 months, the idea of moving any amplifiers is something that I absolutely dread at this point. It's gonna happen again, but when it does, I'm gonna be really sad about it. But being able to have a lot of sound in a compact package is something that I think is really beneficial. And certainly over the years, the technology when it comes to these multi-effect processors has increased from the days from when I was a teenager watching other bands play and watching their guitar player tap around through the categories on his Zoom. The other thing that really caught my eye is that Flamma's selling this thing for about $150, which I can afford. And if I can afford it, pretty much anyone else can afford. So enough from me. Let's go ahead and just check this thing out and see what it sounds like. Now, as far as sound for today, we're gonna be running direct into my interface and just running through Reason. I'm gonna let the sounds that are in the pedal speak for themselves. So yeah, here we go. So I guess the first thing I want to check out here is the tuner to see what's going on with that in terms of accuracy. I mean, either I'm in really good tune already, or this tuner's just being very, very nice to me. But so far, we got that going. All right, so now, holy moly. Let's engage the pedal, see what it sounds like. This is 80s clean. Cool. 80s lead. Now, that hum that you're hearing, that is pretty much just my guitar. So don't get the wrong idea, like this guitar as a Telecaster tends to have a little bit of noise attached to it when it comes to having higher levels of gain attached to what you're playing on the guitar, attached to your general signal. Now, as far as the controls on here, you have your master volume, which controls the amount of volume overall. Now, the expression pedal in this setting, it's set to adjust the amount of delay. So you could have no delay at all. So that's pretty cool. But you can change the settings for each thing. I believe if you go through here and you change You can change pretty much anything on here, so that's pretty cool. Now, I can also tap into different tempo for the delay itself. So cool. To our clean. In this case, the expression pedal is controlling the overall volume of the amp. The level of definition from the expression pedal is minimal. So if you're trying to do like a bunch of like really expressive swells and things like that, you're going to find that there's a lot that is going to be missing there, I think. But as far as just cutting out the signal, done deal. And the same thing when you engage the tuner, it mutes your signal, so cool. It's supposed to be like a JCM 800. So it sounds great. The levels of the individual patches so far, I think I would want them to be a little bit more evenly matched volume-wise. But I guess if you're going to try to use this in a live setting, you would just have to go through and kind of adjust everything to your personal liking, just to make sure that you're not stepping on the pedal that goes to a different patch and all of a sudden you're blowing the audience away. So now this is adjusting all that stuff. Okay. I'm starting to get a better hang of this stuff, but let's see. Jellobs? Let's see. Power stack. I don't really like this like really rapid delay that's on here. It gives it kind of like almost a sort of flange sound to it. Very metallic. But you can adjust that. Now, as far as what you're getting with this pedal, you're getting access to 55 different kinds of amps, classic and high gain, effects of 9 different types. So you got your reverbs, delay, modulation, distortion, and so on and so forth. Of those, you have 151 different effects to choose from for constructing your own personal custom patches. And with those, you have 26 user slots to utilize for making custom patches or uploading your own personal IRs if you want to use those versus the amps that are in the pedal itself. Another feature of this pedal is what's called OTG, or on the go, which allows you to pair your phone with the pedal and allows you to record ideas, songs, whatever, utilizing your phone from the pedal, which is probably a lot better than what would be like if I was in a hotel room and I have an idea come to me in the middle of the night and I take out my phone and I use the voice memo app and I'm just like holding my unplugged electric guitar real close to my phone. In this case, I can get something that sounds like my actual guitar through an amp. And yeah, I think it's a cool feature. PV clean. PV lead. A little trebly. Now, all these parameters can be adjusted. You can adjust the EQ on each of the parameters and adjust the amount of gain, all of those features. You're able to go through and adjust all this stuff independently. However, it's not that easy to go through and adjust everything right out the box, because you got to go on their website and you got to look up the instruction manual. So that's a little annoying. Normal. It's adjusting the amount of compression. Bass guy. Now, as far as the ports that are available on this thing, we've got auxiliary, which is for a external audio source. Like if you want to play along with a song on your phone or plug it into a stereo system or whatever, you would plug an 1/8 inch cable into here and you'd be good to go. You could adjust the volume of it via the controls. You got your input jack for your guitar, left and right output. So if you want to run stereo, you can. 1/8 inch headphone jack. So if you have headphones with a 1/4 inch jack on the end of it, you need to get an adapter for that. USB port, our OTG, that's the on-the-go function, and then the port for the adapter for the power. Pretty straightforward. Everything's laid out really nicely and simply. So yeah, no complaints. Aurora. All right. What is that? So, I guess that's the reverb? Okay, now I'm figuring it out. So you go to your value button, you press that, that'll allow you to adjust the amount per thing. So what's happening here is that you have this church reverb, a dual delay, this lo-fi thing. That's what that sort of staticky thing is. And then you can adjust the EQ here, noise gate, acoustic, simulator, and okay, now I'm getting it. So now Alien, this should be good. This kind of reminds me, some of you might be too young to remember, but it reminds me of the Digitech FX100. There was a patch on that pedal, the Space Station, that I believe was called a pixelator. And basically all it was just like a really gritty sort of arpeggiator. But interesting. A dream. I gotta figure out a dreamy chord. Let's see. So in conclusion, when it comes to the FX100 from Flamma, I think that you get a whole lot in a small package for a small price, and that's great. The quality of the sound is pretty good. You can record on the go if you need to, and you can adjust pretty much all the parameters on each of the patches and make your own, which is great. Pretty much, it's accessible in any scenario, whether you're in front of your computer, in front of your amp, on the train, whatever it may be. I don't know if you want to use on the train, but you know, if you wanted to, you could. Now, as far as any cons that I could think of when it comes to this pedal, I'd say a big one for me is the lack of a physical copy of the manual for the pedal. The assumption's made that you are in a position where you have access to the internet, where you can go and download a PDF of the manual. And maybe you're not. Maybe you brought this thing to practice with your band and you're like, dudes, check it out. You get it out of the box and they're like, so how does it work? And you get to look at them and be like, I don't know. It could happen. And just having a paper copy of it, I think, would be something useful. I know everyone's trying to go paperless, but you know, in this case, how much paper could you possibly be using? Another thing to be weary of is that the volume level of the patches is drastically different from one patch to another. Some patches are really loud, some patches are very quiet. And while you can go in and adjust all these parameters, another factor to consider is that there's a lot of parameters to adjust. So in addition to volume, you can adjust the levels of the delay, reverb, the other effects that are built in. You can adjust all those parameters, and that might be a little daunting to some people. It's great in comparison to what we used to have from back in the day, where it was click on the box and that's your sound. And if you don't like that sound, turn it off. And that's all you got for options. But, you know, it's a lot. It's something that if you invest the money into this thing, it's worthwhile to just sit with it for probably like an hour and just get it up and running to where you want it to be. You plan to be using it for hours, so utilizing that hour to first do the initial prep shouldn't be that much of a task to undertake. And plus, for $150, you're getting a whole lot of stuff. A lot. Way more than I remember getting with anything else from back in the day when I was a kid. So if you're in the market for something that would be a decent resource for recording and does a whole lot of different sounds in regards to your guitar, I'd say this is a decent option to consider. And with that, my friends, that's all I got for you for today. Big thank you to the people over at Flamma for sending this out to me. I'm looking forward to taking a deeper dive into this pedal and seeing what else it's capable of. And for the rest of you, I will leave a link down in the description and you can find more information there. But with that, that's all I got. Thank you guys for your time. If you like what I'm doing here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what I'm doing with this channel and you want to support more, I'll leave a link for my Patreon down below as well. But yeah, thank you guys for your time. Keep playing. Peace.